A guy named Lex was wounded, and at the same time a huge dragon was already running after him. Definitely the girl who watched this scene was waiting for this, to complete her assigned role. She found herself in a book she had never read. One weekend she fell asleep forgetting about the tangerine. When she woke up, she found herself in a prison unknown to her. At first she couldn't fully understand where she was now, and she began to examine the area. Then the girl found a book next to her which she decided to open, and a brilliant light appeared. The book greeted the girl, and she named her poetry, Dragon's Opponent. The book also introduced itself as the author of the novel, and he will be a guide for the girl. She became a character Isol. Her journey will continue until the novel ends. The book also announced that now the main character will appear who will save her, because of this prison, and also before the main character saved the girl. The book told one last thing, that the only way for her to return back, this is to become a real heroine. And now it returns back to the moment when the main character was wounded. As said, it was simple. Her role is to save the hero. She took the dragon away and the heroes will save her. But if he dies, she will be able to return to her world. Well, come closer to Lex. Rosetta began to cry. She did not understand why her heart hurt so much. After all, she tried not to love him because she had the kind of relationship that you never expect to succeed. And she simply played the role of someone he fell in love with from afar. So she made difficult decisions, and they began to treat his wounds. It's too early to take too long. And the author of the novel began to count down from 10 seconds. Because there were problems with the ending. The girl moved to the very beginning. She again began to consider this location. And where is she now? And suddenly a bright light appeared. A young man opened the door and it was Lex. Suddenly other knights ran in, who saw the girl and ordered her to be taken away immediately. After all, she is the only girl who survived in this prison. One of the knights understood that the South is like that after all. See how the body begins to decompose and leave the word like that. They arrived too late. There was only one survivor and the dragon was quite dangerous. Hear the words of Rosette thinking. And what kind of dragon are we talking about, and that perhaps she will end up just like these dead people? If the dragon was not killed. Lex took her in his arms. The girl wanted to sleep. Because she understood that the fact that the hero was here meant that she had not returned to her world, she did what the book told her. So she did not understand what it all meant. The place where she and the guy first met was originally at the market. If this is the location of the heroin incident, she met the guy faster than expected. In her arms, she couldn't believe the whole picture looking around. For some reason, she went back to the beginning, but she sees scenes from the past that she has never seen before. After a while, she was lying in her bed. Lex explained that this was a safe place and perhaps a good rest, grabbing his hand before he decided to leave. She apologized and asked the guy what would happen behind the dragon. Hey girl understood. What if she came back? She doesn't know that the guy himself remembers about her. Now the girl wanted to ask the book what she should do. Therefore I asked Lex if he had seen the book that was with her in that place, to which he looked at her in bewilderment. The girl couldn't believe it. From that moment on, when she first woke up, the book never disappeared. Even when she tried to get rid of the book, she could not. But she suddenly began to feel dizzy and was bleeding from her nose. She fainted. In a nutshell, Rosetta was a minor character in this novel, a creature that could do nothing more, despite the fact that she is in love with the main character. After all, this is a man who saves other victims with himself. She thought that she should follow her role, but in the end, she liked the main character. She had better try to get rid of this book once. No matter how hard she tried, the book always ended up next to her again. Then she found out. She could never change the original, no matter how much she wanted to. The book held her back every time she tried to escape. But she didn't know what to do now if she didn't have the book. A woman came into the room. I said hello to the Rosetta. Her name was Margarita. Margarita inquired about the girl's well-being, to which I received a positive response. Then she said that the cuirass asked her to always keep the light in the room bright, because the lady is afraid of the dark. Rosetta said that the reason her character was afraid of the dark was because she was locked in that room for 3 days while this whole disaster happened. It's somehow strange. Well, the main character found her that day in ruins. She didn't know how he could know about her. Margarita also brought food. Therefore, I would ask you to eat quickly. After all, she hasn't eaten for 3 days. After the girl started eating, she realized that she had lain like this for 3 days. Why did the bread fall to the floor? Rosetta directly asked Margarita whether the princess's debut had taken place, to which I received the answer that, as Margarita herself heard, the princess's debut banquet began yesterday. Princess Siren, she was the princess of the empire, the main character of this work, protecting the main character until the very end. Lex and Siren were childhood friends, but as they grew older, they interacted less and less with each other. Fateful day when two such distant people met. It was June 8th, 408 in Aden, the day of her debut. Rosetta understood perfectly well that if these two did not meet, the story could not begin. Then she is forever a stranger here. Seeing that the strange girl, Margarita asked her whether she was okay or not. Rosetta, Margarita is not feeling well, so going to get some fresh air. If Margarita lives, then everything is in order with her body. On the street, the girl had already met Gregory. He did not look at the fact that he was the illegitimate son of our brother, the Emperor. Later, he was recognized as a member of the Imperial family, around the age of 5 or 6 because of his emerald green eyes. Having become a member of the Imperial family, he was close to the princess from an early age. And naturally, he also became close to the main character, until his father Alexis died of disaster. After that, the older he was, the more disgusting he lived. And alcohol, gambling, women, he enjoyed everything he could get without hesitation. But now he had a smile on his face, and greeted the lady. Rosetta thought it was all over, and she came back. But now everything is very different from the past she knows. Therefore, more than anyone else, she wants to know the meaning of this situation. Gregory just laughed. After all, even if the girl doesn't know, he couldn't think about what the Duke was thinking. This is a headache, he thought about it. Both girls knew each other from the very beginning. Well, since the girls were curious and decided to tell, what would happen if the Duke was known as the Guardian of the North? Will come to the south side without the permission of the Camera family. The girl correctly noted that this would be regarded as treason. That's exactly how it was. He came with a group of knights to see the girl, and he told Gregory to get the approval of the Imperial family because the Izal tribe was under attack. He was lucky that somehow he managed to explain this to the Imperial family and organize search parties. Now even the mere thought of this makes Gregory dizzy. Gregory also told the Duke that he did not have enough time, and Hertz should find someone else, but he dragged him into this. He pulled him away abruptly and said that he needed to find something. Rosetta heard this and was perplexed. Did Lex really know everything? He even started searching for her sake. Gregory continued that as soon as the Duke found the girl, he immediately dragged her to the barracks, and he personally took care of her. Therefore, Gregory thinks that Herzog was looking for a lady, and after he found the girl, he stopped searching. Rosetta had no idea how Herzog knew about the tragedy and Isol and why he cared about her. She is confused because all his actions are different from those she knew. But suddenly he called them back. Lex said that as soon as the girl woke up, he was surprised when he heard that she was missing, so he asked her if she was okay, and that I received a positive response, which made him happy. Lex asked Gregory, did he really call the girl over? To which Gregory replied that this was all nonsense. They didn't just run into each other. After Gregory left, the guys started talking. Lex asked the girl what she was looking at like that, and what the girl answered was that there was nothing. Then the guy expected that his decision would be good to go in search of her. He extended his hand to her and offered to take her back too. The guys went together. Rosetta stopped at once. She saw saints who were really beautiful, and they smelled nice too. Lex also said that there are more beautiful flowers in the north. Perhaps there are others there that she will like. Then the girl directly decided to ask the guy how he could be sure that she would like these flowers, and Lex asked after the girl approached him to go Tilly, so that she can only be addressed by her first name. She was of course surprised. After all, how can she address such a person as he is by name? Although she knows that she shouldn't attach importance to his words. Naturally, one inevitably begins to speculate on what this might mean. She never called him the Zion of her past life. This name was forbidden for a girl. She is afraid of what calling him by name might lead to. After she called his name, her heart began to beat quickly again as she looked at him. There were so many things she wanted to ask him. How did he find a bunch of corpses in her place? How did he know her name? But she couldn't bring herself to ask him these questions when he was smiling so happily. She just wants to enjoy her time and happiness for as long as possible. Zion was truly very worried when she fainted. He's sorry he couldn't find her sooner. Then the girl decided to ask questions directly. Why did he allow her to call him by his name? And why he apologized to her when they first met? Then the guy explained that it was all because he fell for her at first sight. Rosetta couldn't believe it. After all, this is impossible, and initially it was she who fell in love with him at first sight. Information has already torn off its hand. This is what Zion itself felt. Well, I asked you not to run away. He didn't want to demand an answer, but simply said exactly what he felt. And he even managed to name her nickname. She couldn't believe it. He can't like her. After all, the book explained that the people in this book do not have free will. The conductor mentioned this before, and not a being without its own self, simply acting and speaking in accordance with the situation. Even she, as a traveler, had restrictions on her actions. Every time she tried to escape from the book, the original story would mercilessly kill her again. But he, as a character, is history. Acts independently. Perhaps he did not feel sympathy for her initially. Of course, if he comes up with a chance to reunite with the princess of his heart. So she shouldn't react rashly to his confession, just because she will get hurt again. Zion explained why he called her that nickname, although she never told him. He just wanted to call her that. The search group that dealt with the tragedy in the city arrived in the capital on the last day in the questionnaire. After some time, the dress was already ready. This was done personally by her maid Margarita. Margarita noticed that this dress was very attractive for a miss. And since the guys needed to finish this quickly in order to be on time for the princess's debut point, Rosetta understood that if she went, the main character would still be the princess's partner, but she didn't understand why she was worrying like a fool again. After all, she would have preferred it. Doesn't receive only half the kindness. One evening, Zion gave the girl a ring, which could change her hair color. Now that she is the only one of the Isol family, everyone will only hunt for her. So from now on, you need to be much more careful so that she doesn't get caught. Rosetta asked the guy why he couldn't just tell them to the Imperial family, but he replied that it wouldn't work. After all, he doesn't want to see how to use it. He is well aware of the cruel treatment in the Imperial family. That's why he must be worried about a girl who is ignorant of world affairs. Therefore, she promised him that she would do everything to hide her origin. A little bit later, the girl began to descend onto her carriage. Grigory met her, who was ready to accompany her. As I expected the girl herself, Zion would not accompany her, and most likely he went directly to the ball. Inside the carriage, Grigory noted that the girl was driving very suspiciously, what she herself most likely does not fully understand. Zion is not one to care about women, Grigory noticed. Gregory's intuition told him that this is all a misunderstanding, and at one point after that they immediately arrived at the score. They won't have time to agree with each other. The main character had already met her there, and after the main character grabbed the heroine's hand, Gregory decided to leave. Then Rosetta asked, "Where's he going to go? Shouldn't he be her partner?" And what Gregory answered was that he already has a partner. Then the girl was clearly perplexed. She was sure that Zion had to go with the princess. Well, suddenly he interrupted her thoughts, and he said that he would be her partner. Zion said that they will move on, already on the way to the estate. The girl asked why the guys chose her as a partner. Then he said everything because he wants to do it with her. The girl was surprised. After all, the current situation was full of things that she could not understand. You are her past life. He attended the ball as the princess's partner on the orders of the emperor. This means that this time he should also receive an imperial order, so she couldn't understand whether it was okay to continue in this vein. The content of the novel becomes increasingly distorted. Even the most important scene of connecting the main characters changes, and then the main characters didn't understand whether she should distance herself from this now. Rosetta understood, and she said that a princess would be more suitable for him than her. Well, he answered negatively. After all, he only wanted to go with her. Xian even said that he thought he would be happy if he went with her, and kissed her hand. These were her last words then. By your death, he advised and asked her if she would go with him. She didn't know how she could refuse him. When he says that, they are both a real couple. She wished him happiness more than anyone else. When the guys went inside, people around have already started discussing, "You've never seen this lady before." When the guys started dancing, the heroine, due to the fact that she was awkward, constantly stepped on many guys. After that, she promised that next time she would learn to dance better. To which Zion simply smiled and said that he would look forward to it. Rosetta understood. Why does it start to change constantly? She needs to find this book as soon as possible, but she doesn't want to worry about the original one. A friend announced that Crown Prince Kronos and Princess Siren were attending the ball. This is Rosetta. The main heroine of this novel appeared. Kronos suddenly turned to Zion and asked him why he suddenly refused. It turns out it was because of such a woman. Zion greeted the young Leo Empire. The princess herself apologized. Here, if she knew that the Duke had a partner, she would not bother him. Zion reported that Rosetta was his partner from the very beginning. So further, Kronos wanted to touch the Duke's girlfriend. Apparently, he became interested in what family she was. Apparently, I haven't seen her before. Then the hero stopped his hand and said that he should not treat his partner so recklessly. Siln gave permission to leave this wonderful company. Therefore, I once again congratulated the princess on her coming of age. And since he has not yet fully recovered from the poison, he must leave them. He wished them a pleasant time. Get outside. The main heroine asked the Duke what had just happened. Then he said that he did not think that my husband should stay here any longer. After all, the girl herself held it during the dialogue, and he noticed this perfectly. She would certainly try to justify her hesitation, because I saw the Imperial family for the first time. Then the guy asked if it was the first time. His eyes seemed to know that she was lying, and he most likely might know something. Then the girl explained that she did not know that the princess asked him to become her partner. He found himself in an unnecessary situation because of her. But this did not create any problems. According to his own words, from the very beginning he only wanted to dance with her. After all, from the very beginning he told her that he fell in love with her at first sight. Of course, the girl did not know when his heart would return to the princess again. Well, just from his words she began to feel so happy, which made her even embarrassed. Fortunately, it was dark now. If it had been bright, he could have easily looked into her heart. Tonight, which had always treated her badly, was on her side. The princess debut ball is over. The Imperial Palace continued to call for Siona, who participated in the search for the Isol tragedy. Initially, it was assumed that the guy would return to the north capital. It has already been announced that the Isol tribe has been completely destroyed. People were kept in fear after hearing the tragic news caused by the evil dragon. And in the midst of the tense situation in which he found himself, the girl received expensive treatment in his villa. The whereabouts of the book were still unknown, and every day all the Rosetta could do was wait for the Duke to arrive. Every night she is tormented by anxiety that she may not be able to return to her real world as it is. She fell asleep only after she heard that he had returned. Even knowing that she was passing it off as real, she had no choice but to wait endlessly. He always walked past her room announcing his passage. Only then was she finally able to fall asleep. Measure it. How in peaceful days the tension coincided. Perhaps that is why Herzog sent her a letter. Her mistakes were constantly falling into this ridiculous trap. The girl opened the letter and immediately began to count it. It said that it was not just about staying in the castle, but also about taking a walk outside together. The girl asked the maid if the Duke really had free time, to which she replied that it was possible that she had some free time. And so I asked Miss if they should now prepare for the meeting. Rosetta was still stupidly standing there. I didn't suspect anything. Well, when the girl came, Cronus was there, who laughed that the girl really came. Suddenly the maid disappeared, and the girl herself could not believe that she had fallen for such a trick. No matter how peaceful her life was, she couldn't forget. How many enemies does the Duke have? An average Cronus. The one who fears Zion most. For him, she is a delicious prey. The girl chose to greet His Highness. Then he noticed that she most likely should be disappointed. Gregory mentioned that she was a distant relative of the Duke. So I asked her where she lived before. She understood that even in a past life she claimed to be his distant relative, or rather his sister. Then she said that she lived in the south. From the moment she encountered him, memories of the past came to mind. Returning after it turned out that she belonged to the Isol tribe, the pressure of the Imperial family on the Duke intensified. A rare tribe with special abilities and the only surviving girl. Like this, how he resolutely rejected the order of the Imperial family to give her up. He was sent on countless missions to slay demons. Rosetta, having learned about this, went alone to the Imperial palace, and there she endured all possible difficulties. Even though whenever she met the Duke, she always managed to smile. So about the difficulties she went through learning about the garage later. Therefore, she did not know now whether she should suffer like last time. Cronus asked the girl because he saw that she was trembling. Therefore, I asked her what he had already done. After all, she also believes that the current situation is unusual, the guy noticed. As soon as the girl wanted to say something, the guy closed her mouth, and he asked her whether to exercise her right to remain silent. He also managed to hit her in the face and called her impudent. After all, does she really think that she can become a duchess? Only because the blood of a sparrow flows in her. Cronus called the guards, and he called the girl a person who insulted the Imperial family. Therefore, he immediately ordered her to be taken into custody. Gregory immediately reported to the Duke about the situation that had occurred. In an impenetrable place where not a single ray of light penetrates. Of course, the girl could not bear it. But she's not her character. She's fed up with acting like her character. Even in the face of such injustice, she must endure it all in silence. Well, she should have felt something strange from the very beginning. There must be a reason why only this maid looked so awkward. She was too careless because she only focused on Zion. She will not stand still and everything will come back. She can no longer tolerate this injustice. Before returning, she thought that she could return to her real world, so she endured all these difficulties. That's why there was hope. But now she is confident. The book she didn't show up with. She doesn't know if she can go back and doesn't even know if she wants to. After all, the fact that the book has not yet appeared may mean that she can do whatever she wants. Someone friend opened the door and it was Gregory, lantern in hand. Gregory immediately wanted to free the girl. The girl on the right can't understand why Gregory is here. What is he doing here? Since Cronus threatened the Duke's girlfriend, he now went in her place, for the forgiveness of demons, to get Nox. This is the heart of a demon. Rosetta prayed that nothing would happen to the Duke. A little later, the doctor approached her in her bed. Luckily, she didn't have any serious injuries. However, he asked to refrain from excessive activity. Margarita asked the girl why she suddenly went there alone. Without saying anything, if she was upset, she just needed to call Margarita. Well, only one of the maids wanted to leave and bring water for the mistress. She was stopped by a rosette. The girl asked the maid, but did she really have nothing to say? Everywhere it was a real Rosetta, she would probably protect others even in such a situation. But she's not her character. She told Margarita that she had not gone out alone, and she pointed her finger at the maid who took her to the crown prince, and the fact that she gave her a letter from the Duke and they went together. The maid was taken to prison, until we find out the circumstances. Margarita asked to see this letter, but it was taken away from the girl. Well, Margarita still believed the girl. After all, in her previous life, they were also the only ones who remained close to her. Rosetta asked when the Duke would return. Then she explained that as soon as the letter was delivered to him, he should immediately return. Suddenly, strange sounds were heard. The Duke returned and did not look very good. He was all wounded. Rosetta also came down to him and hugged him. The guy was just glad that she was safe. Rosetta asked him to quickly go to treatment. Well, suddenly he fainted. Before he fainted, he begged the girl not to leave him. After these phrases, she began to suspect that he, like her, returned to the past. She sat next to him on the bed. After all, I also didn't want to see how hurt he was. And suddenly, no matter how much time had passed, a book appeared. But the cover color has changed. To begin with, the girls decided to return to the room and check. After opening the book, it said that because of this setting, the main character has changed, and he is no longer the main character. There is currently no main character in this story. Requires a system reset. The girl called the righteous man to find out everything as it really was, and she also wanted to know why she still books. But the book did not understand the girl's question. Then the girl explained that she had reached the very end. But everything is still here. The book started producing errors, and in the end he answered that he didn't understand what the girl was talking about because the heroine's ending had changed. The traveler had to start all over again. The main character against the dragon. From now on, you will have to defeat the evil dragon together with the main character. The evil dragon has become stronger than before. As an advantage of the main character, the girl's secret ability is revealed. And these kinds of things are called reboots, that is. The girl opened the book and began to read the novel. The content of the novel that she achieved actually disappeared. Rosetta suddenly found out that Zion was the same traveler as she. And the book said that the only person who can restart the story who returned is the traveler. But since Zion is not a traveler, he cannot do this in principle, and it is impossible. In fact, Zion did not return anywhere. Therefore, she still did not understand why he behaved this way, and was it because she got a new role? Then the girl asked the book what Zion's role is now, to which the book gave an ambiguous answer. Since the settings are constantly changing, its current role is unknown. But the girl was also embarrassed by the fact that she could not see the last part of the novel. Then the book explained that since she became the main character, her right to view the content of the novel was limited. The place of this will be the work of the trailer system. A trailer is a system that will provide her with a story in fragments. The traveler is free to take any action as long as it does not disrupt the plot of the trailer. If this possibility is confirmed, then the plot may change. However, in this case, the traveler will have to pay a fine. A little later, Herzog and his beloved were having dinner at the table. The girl's lady was greatly relieved that he was no longer angry. As Zion raised his cup of tea, he began to notice that he would most likely return today a little later than usual. After all, he had something to do and not go north, along with the rosette. According to the trailer written in the book, Gregory will help save Zion and will be killed by an evil dragon. The existence of the Sparrow guy is a variable. Consequently, he will be close to death from time to time. However, the girl is going to save him until the very end, even if she has to suffer punishment. The guys unexpectedly came to this store to buy clothes. Rosetta was of course surprised. After all, she thought that he would definitely go to meet Gregory, to pay him for helping you escape last time. Xian held out one of the dresses. He asked the girl's opinion if she liked it. And since they are now in the capital, the guy thinks it would be nice to buy some clothes for her. It was a great relief for him that she agreed to come here. When the girl put on these clothes, and she went to the mirror to look at it, she realized that Zion specifically meant clothes with a hood for her because there would be a cold wind in the north. In his past life, this was what he would have done for the princess out of caring for her. This kind of concern is now directed at her. Zion, go to the next place. The girl happily extended her hand to him. While Rosetta was waiting for Zion, he went to the weapons store. She tried to find out the location of the bird from the window, but suddenly a guy appeared, who immediately apologized for being late. Rosetta saw his sword on him, the one he used often in his past life. It still seems to fit the Zion style so well. Well, the guy also bought a dagger for the girl. Gregory also entered the room. He came to the Duke because they needed to talk about something. After all, the time has finally come for Duke to thank his magnificent big brother. Gregory was assigned to receive the kingdom's diplomatic delegation, and Cronus handed over the task to him. Prince Court is very interested in fencing. He longs to meet the Duke, the master. He will arrive with the delegation. Therefore, Gregory hoped that you could meet Zion. While he is the capital, Zion was surprised because the royal family did not expect him to return soon. Well, Gregory asked not to worry about it. When the Prince of Cortez learned that the Duke was getting old, he sent a letter. The Emperor has a different choice of how to agree. In this case, Zion said that she would look at them before heading north. Rosetta understood that this was the very day when her husband could die. She must go with him to me no matter what. July 12th, 408th year. 3 days have passed since the diplomatic delegation from the court kingdom arrived in the Aden Empire. Finally, it was that day. The girl could not say for sure when Zion would die, that she won't let her guard down. But before that, in her room, she asked the book what would happen if she herself died. The book said that if the main character dies, it most likely will not be the end. Since she doesn't want to clean it up, there's no need to worry. Her safety is guaranteed until she reaches the end game. Rosetta understood that this was the same as lying to invincibility. Still, she hates being hurt, so she must be careful. Zion, like a girl, was worried, so I asked her why she was scared because there were so many people here. After all, she is a little nervous. The girl said that everything was fine. The princess met the guys. And of course, the first thing they did was greet her. Zion himself asked the girl what she was doing here. The princess immediately replied that she was initially responsible for entertaining the delegation, so she wanted to help. But she is a little sad that the Duke himself is not very friendly. Rosetta flirts with a guy like a princess, and it looks like she already fell in love with him. And since she's so cute, maybe a guy will soon like her too. Rosetta's friend noticed the princess's gaze, which was directed at their joint hands which were pressed together with Zion, and she also wanted to separate them. But the guy didn't let me do this. The princess asked in the rosette whether she was free now. After all, the princess just wanted to have tea with the royal family, and it seems like it would be nice if she joined them too. Everyone gathered together at the back table. As she had expected, Rosetta herself was really uncomfortable here. Grigory noticed that Rosetta, although I was sitting at the table, still continues to watch Zion, so I asked her why she liked him. Well, the girl replied that it was just a habit. Suddenly, the princess asked Rosetta for something. The princess couldn't leave right now, and so that no one says and her brothers hate loneliness. Therefore, the princess asked to go talk to Gregory. Rosetta saw it, that Zion is busy now. Therefore, she thinks that everything will be fine if she follows Gregory. Gregory was lying in the clearing, and the Rosetta came up to him. Rosetta saw that the prince's eyes were full of sadness, so she approached him. There was silence, and suddenly the girl interrupted her when she saw 4 forest clovers. Gregory knows that if the girl is going to give it to him, he asked him to do it quickly, and he extended his hand. But the girl was not going to give it away, and not lucky either. In order to console him in some minimal way, she still gave the clover into his hands, and I started looking for others. After all, I wanted to give another to Zion. Gregory understood that for Zion, the Imperial family has already chosen the bride for them, and the girl herself will be the only one who will suffer. Rosetta asked Gregory to pretend that he did not know this, but he was against it because he was on his sister's side. But she didn't want to listen to all this, and she offered to help Gregory look for clover. Then Gregory extended his hand and planted the clover behind the sucker. He wanted to convey his good luck to her. Returning back, Gregory the hero was caught watching 2 girls drinking. Rosetta was just about to go look for Zion when he appeared behind her. Gregory gave his sister to the Duke. After all, she only drank because of him. And Gregory also had one more drunken princess left at his disposal. Zion suggested that Rosetta go and look into the Imperial Palace. Zion, Princess of the Guard. He told them that the princess was a little drunk, and I didn't hope that they could take care of her. Well, suddenly the princess grabbed the guy and asked her to leave her and go with her. Rosetta said that she would go ahead. She was left alone. This wasn't her first time, she's already used to it. Together with the princess, Zion went to take her away. In her thoughts, the princess was very happy. She thought that he would reject her, but she was worrying in vain. And the princess understood that now it didn't matter how closely related they were to the rosette. The way he looked at her was not like that of a family member. When Zion took the girl to his room, finally he asked her, and that from now on she will never again ask him for such personal requests. The princess asked the guy why. After all, he always fulfilled her requests when they were children. The guy answered something. Down was young. He does not want to enter into an unconscious argument with the princess now. After all, his Rosetta sits there and worries, so he hopes the princess won't behave like that again, bringing up that she was rejected before she even admitted her feelings. Rosetta was lying on her bed, and there was a book hanging above it. The book was able to recognize that you traveler looked quite depressed. Then the book showed the price. The girl was sitting in the clearing with Gregory. She immediately asked the book why this scene was shown here. Then the book responded because it's cute with the main character. The girl was surprised that Gregory was the main character, and the main character always has a main character. The main character of the traveler was chosen Gregory, but Rosetta didn't think so. Then the book decided that at the moment the role of Zion is unknown, and Gregory will replace him as the main male character. Zion entered the room. When I walked in, the light was on in the room. Now I'm waiting, guys, and there's an awkward pause. Then the guy suggested, so that the girl could do something she wanted before they went north, for example, the night market. The book lit up. An unexpected mission appeared, and it was said that she went to the night market with a guy and accepted his invitation for a date. Then Zion noticed the book. He took it and began to read it to ordinary people. This is an ordinary book of the Bible. He immediately understood what kind of book it was that the heroine lost at the beginning. So I was glad that she found her book. Zion once again asked the girl if she was going to go with him to the night market tomorrow, because tomorrow there will be fireworks and a kingdom. He thought she would like him. After accepting the task, the book announced that the story would soon begin. The dragon will appear during the fireworks, so she needs to be much more careful so that things don't go awry. While the guys went to the night market, the girl was worried because she didn't know when the dragon would appear. Therefore, I didn't know what to do. Suddenly, Zion asked the girl if her legs really hurt, but there is a cafe with desserts nearby, so he suggested that she go there. The guys came to the cafe and were met by the princess and Grigoriev. Rosetta immediately realized that she was in trouble. The guys approached the company that was sitting at the table. Zion and Rosetta greeted the princess. Gregory came closer to his friend and asked him why his sister was suddenly depressed in the morning. Zion replied that he himself didn't know. Rosetta saw the notification from the book, that in order to progress through the events, it is necessary to accept Gregory's offer. After some time, the dialogue will continue automatically. The girl understood that if she now went with Gregory to watch the fireworks, then in any case, something would happen to Zion. Because the girl refused the task, she was fined and the dragon appeared earlier. Gregory came closer to the girl and ordered her to sit here. The Duke himself has disappeared. Gregory asked to calm down because he thinks that he went in the direction from where the evil dragon appeared. The capital has protective barriers, so you have to stay here. The girl didn't listen. She immediately ran, noticing that the barrier had been destroyed. Well, Gregory grabbed her hand and tried to stop her. But Rosetta knew very well that the evil dragon is dangerous even for master-level knights. This means that the Duke is also in danger. So she asked to be released. Therefore, Gregory suggested going together after all. If she didn't want to leave, he wouldn't be able to look his friend in the eye if he let her go alone. But then the princess herself suddenly appeared. Behind her is a dragon who has already broken the barrier. Gregory was already running to save his sister. But next to the Rosetta was Zion. The guy apologized for leaving the girl alone, but it was still dangerous. Therefore, he ordered me to stay here. And immediately Zion rushed to the dragon to help the princess. The princess herself was captured by her brother, and he began to run away with her in his arms. When Gregory took his sister to a safe place, he ordered her to stay here because it was dangerous around, and he himself must help Zion until the rest of the knights arrive. Zion continued to fight the dragon. He understood that he should not give him the opportunity to breathe fire. Well, suddenly fire came out of the dragon's mouth. Suddenly there was an explosion. Gregory found himself next to the Rosetta and was able to cover it from the explosion. Suddenly a book appeared, who was also worried about the girl. The girl was of course disappointed. After all, the book said that the main character will not die. But in fact, she didn't say that the main character couldn't get hurt. Only Gregory wanted to help the girl insert. Zion itself appeared here. After the master-level knight gathered, the dragon decided to fly away. At that moment, Zion took the girl by the hand, and they decided to leave together. When the girl asked where they were going to go, she saw his face. Well, suddenly the guys just wanted to discuss something. The evil dragon returned again. The book said that the dragon is returning. The story continues. The main character is in danger. Rosetta understood perfectly. What if she doesn't let Zion go save Gregory now? Then the main character will die. But suddenly the guy said that he would not go anywhere, and he won't go to save Gregory. Rosetta was surprised by such words, and the book reported that the guy had deviated from his original development. Gregory will be mortally wounded. The book also told the girl that she must use hidden abilities to continue the story. Also, Gregory had already been wounded in the shoulder by the dragon. The book also asked to save Gregory, but Delphi, with his ability, drains the enemy's strength with life. Asta. Once she accepts this, Zion's death will be abolished. Rosetta understood perfectly well that she had no need to be distracted. The only place she returned to was Zion, so she asked him for forgiveness, and she also asked me to stay in this place. Although earlier she fortunately escaped injury, she's not sure she'll be lucky the second time. Suddenly the girl took out her dagger, and she turned it into a mirror using her secret technique. She was able to transform herself. What caused her hair color to change? And after she used the technique, the dragon decided to fly back. This actually worked effectively against the evil dragon. The book also reported that the dragon escaped. Zion asked the girl if she was okay, to which he received a positive answer. Cronus approached the guys, whose hair color had also changed. He pulled the girl's cloak off, and I recognized her from the very first day. Cronus came closer to Zion, and he began to lay out complaints that he reported inaccurate information to the Imperial family. Zion also noted that the girl is not part of the Empire. For people belonging to the Mind of Intervention, it is not a crime to hide their identity in court for protection purposes. Therefore, the guy is sure that His Highness understands well what he is talking about. The day it happened, he didn't know who this woman was, so it doesn't mean anything. However, it is a fact that His Highness threatened the girl. But Cronus did not agree with this. After all, there is a point that the highest priority of the Imperial family is the protection of the clan, which was in danger of extinction. If we take into account the girl's target strength, she will be surrounded by threats. Therefore, the safety of this woman can be entrusted to the Imperial family, which can provide the most reliable protection. But Grigory appeared behind, who said that it was his friend's responsibility to go there. Rosetta only existed thanks to Gregory Annan. Luckily, judging by their reactions, they didn't seem to have seen her use her secret technique before. If they find out that she can use this power, the Imperial family will try to take her to themselves by any means possible. Cronus understood that it looked like they should discuss this matter formally. Zion turned to Gregory, and he asked for an apology for what happened earlier. He was too excited. Gregory replied that we need to forget about it. After all, the guy must have been surprised too, so Gregory asked his friend to be careful with Kronos. But the guys also had to return to the north. Before anything happens again, he will come to his room. Suddenly, Zion turned to the book. The book informed him that the main character had changed from Zion to Gregory. A penalty will be imposed for deviation from the route, and excessive punishment leads to irreversible consequences. Caution is required. But the guy asked the book to tell him everything about the Rosetta. The guy was disappointed. After all, he asked the book to inform him in advance that if the content of the book changes, then the book reported that unsynchronized information was updated slowly. To synchronize, you need contacts between books. Otherwise, the possibility of synchronization is based on the traveler's memory. Therefore, he cannot know the conditions of the girl's fence. Contact between books is necessary to obtain information. The remark that Zion just made may offend others. Zion understands perfectly well that he has a book of Rosetta. This means that a new book has appeared, trying to send the girl back at any cost. This can't happen, and he can't let it happen. So he asked the book if he could keep one and the other book without the permission of the girl herself. Then the book reported a positive answer. But if the traveler doesn't ask, the guide will not answer. Then he will have to synchronize them secretly. Rosetta was reading a book, and about how all the events that happened before were described there. For a girl who experienced all these events, the events that were written in the book were absurd. Then the book said that the novel shows only what it wants. This is a kind of beauty omission. In any case, the book must be interesting in order to sell well. If her feelings and content towards her are different, she didn't know if the content that she had isolated from her past life would also be distorted. She always thought that the story in the book was true. But if there is dialogue and monologues that she did not say, this could be an opportunity. The girl also found the moment of what happened to Gregory after he was dropped by the dragon. Suddenly, when he came to the Imperial Palace, his wound opened. The Emperor warned him that he would be more careful next time, and he didn't end up like his father. Gregory understood that the Emperor was becoming weaker every day, and you can't fool his age. Nevertheless, thanks to this, he was able to rest properly. Rosetta understood that given that everything had come to this, even if they returned to the north, she would not be able to avoid contacting the Imperial family. But in turn, the princess was sitting in the garden. For her, the whole situation was disgusting. She is a noble princess recognized by everyone. She was considered the most beautiful empire. The most suitable man for her may be Zion. Well, for some reason, he doesn't choose her. She feels like her beloved bird is breaking out of its cage. He was definitely hers. And imagine, I didn't want to talk about someone like Rosetta because she doesn't even have a title, and just a simple person. Suddenly, when the maid left, the girl was left alone. She took a white flower and crushed it, screaming, "To the Rosetta." Something dared to behave like that with her. So she promised herself that she would show Rosetta what happens when someone wants what belongs to her. Thanks to Gregory, who received permission with the Imperial seal. Rosetta was released because their reputation is a priority. But she didn't know that she could come back so quickly. Zion entered the room. After all, he passed by and saw the girl herself. He also asked her what she was doing here on the balcony. The girl replied that she just wanted to get some fresh air. She also asked what was happening now. And the guy gave a clear answer, that he wanted to make sure that everything was ready for tomorrow's departure to the north. Zion decided to apologize for the fact that the girl could not see the fireworks, still at the festival. Therefore, he promised that next time I would definitely go and see the fireworks. Time has passed. The girl went into her room, and at that very moment the book spoke to her. She found the recording. The dragon's thoughts deepened and the demons began to follow. Due to their number, the girl and her companions, heading to my place, found themselves in a difficult situation. While Zion was trying to deal with the monsters, the girl did something unexpected. For fear of interference from the traveler, the book could not communicate specific things. A little earlier, on the balcony, Zion gave the girl a new ring. After all, before she broke down, she thinks that it would be nice to hide her hair color, because there might be trouble on the way north. Well, he was also interested in the question of what kind of power she used to catch the dragon. The girl, of course, told me that this is a secret technique of her clan, and it's secret because it steals the opponent's life force. Zion realized the danger. Therefore, he asked in advance that she keep this ability a secret. I never know what the royal family can do. Rosetta understood that she needed to find out what was happening to Zion. She would like him to notice her. He didn't pay attention to her because she wasn't the main character, and she couldn't take the princess's place. If only he could see her. The next day the guys left, and at some point they decided to stop. The guys stopped and Zion suggested we go to a wonderful restaurant, and the girl agreed with pleasure. The guys were sitting at the back table. The girl understood that everything was happening as the book said. The dragon is a creature that regenerates due to strong anger. To heal his wounds, he awakened the demons and gathered his anger. Xian saw how tense the girl was, so he asked her not to worry. If you can't get through, they will break through. Suddenly, a boy approached the table. The one who put the bracelet on the table noticed that it suited Zion's wife's eyes very well, so I asked to buy one. Zion noticed that the boy had a trained eye. Andre called the main character his wife and said that she could choose whatever she wanted. The main character was surprised and embarrassed because he called her that. Andre smiled and asked the rose if she didn't like it, but the girl said that this is not so. She asked Zion then if he could choose the one that suited her. Andre happily agreed. He asked the boy to show everything he had, and he happily agreed. Then he put the various bracelets he had on the table. Andre handed the boy a coin and said that he would buy everything from him. The boy was very surprised and happy. He wanted to say something about surrender, but Zion interrupted him and said that he didn't need it. The boy became even more happy, thanked Zion and said that he would be blessed and then left. Rosetta told Sion that one would be enough for her. The guy said that he couldn't choose just one, since they all suited her. The main character said that this was too much. Then she pointed to the last thing and said that she thought this bracelet would suit him. Andre asked Nastia if she would like to put it on him herself. Rosetta smiled and happily agreed. After she put the bracelet on the guy, she said that it suited him very well. At that moment, Sion handed her the bracelet and asked how about this. Rosetta realized that this bracelet had the same design. Zion told her that he was targeting her. Afterwards, he said that the bracelet was very beautiful and it suited the rose. The girl thanked the guy for choosing him for her. At that moment, Rosetta asked the guy if she could share the remaining bracelets with the servants. Xian agreed and said that he only needed this one. Rosetta said that in fact she also only needed this one. Soon after they arrived at Hakun, all roads were ordered to be closed. After all, even next to the village, they were locked in a Hakuna, and Sion asked for a private meeting with the sender of the Hakuna. Having learned that Hakun had asked the Imperial family for help, but received no response, Sion realized that the capital was also under threat from monsters. The very next day, he formed a hunting party. The main character said that she heard that Sion was going on a mission to enslave monsters. Andre said that this is so. He said that he would try to clear the path as soon as possible, but for now he would have to stay here. He said that given the circumstances, he thinks she will need someone to protect her. At that moment, a man came into the room. His name is Aiden Maximus. He was appointed guardian of the rose. Andre said that he was a replacement, but he was quite capable. Aiden told the main character that he was honored to have the opportunity to serve and protect her. Rosetta did not understand why such a talented person should be introduced to her, and she understood that it would be better to use him in a monster hunting squad. Andre told Rosetta that he could see what she was thinking, but he asked her not to worry too much. He said he would be back soon. Rosetta understood that everything should be fine because there was nothing unusual in the book. At this point, Zion asked Aiden to take care of the main character while he was away. The man happily agreed and told Zion not to worry. When Sion left, Aiden told the main character that he was truly honored to serve her. He said that the guys from the hunting party were probably jealous of him. Rosetta was surprised and asked why she would wear it for them. The man explained that she was interesting to many of them. She got upset and asked if they were talking behind her back, right? But Aiden hastened to reassure her and said that this was not so. He said that they were simply genuinely curious about what kind of person she was to his lordship. He said that from the moment his lordship carried her out in the pile of corpses, they, members of the Order of Black Knights, swore allegiance to her. Rosetta asked why. Aiden wanted to explain. At that moment, Daisy burst into the room and loved him. She told the guy not to say anything stupid. Afterwards, the Desi asked Aiden if he was going to tell the lady something strange, but the guy said that it was nothing like that. But Daisy noticed that he stopped talking when he saw her, but the guy said it didn't matter. Rosetta was very happy to see the two of them together again. When they stopped arguing, Aiden said that in any case, he was looking forward to working with the main character. Roses said it was mutual. At this point, Aiden asked her if she didn't need to stay in her room all the time. Rose said she thought everything was fine, but she said that since they were here in Hakuna, why don't they explore the surrounding area a little? Daisy told Rosetta that she was right. She said that there is a big zoo in Hakuna. She said that there was a camel there, animals that can only be seen in the court. She said that they say they look like a horse with several humps on its back. Daisy asked, "Isn't it amazing?" Aiden told the girl that camels are not horses, but she hit him and asked the Rose if she was interested in looking at them. Rosetta agreed and said that she would like to see them. She thought that these two got along really well. Now she understands why Aiden was so sad when Daisy died in his previous life. Daisy then offered to go in the carriage and the main character agreed. She hoped that this time everything would be fine. After some time at the zoo, Daisy was very happy. She said that she never knew that camels were such big animals. Aiden said he didn't expect camels to have such bad breath. Rosetta agreed with him and said that the smell was simply disgusting. At that moment, Aiden asked the Rose if she was hungry. Rosetta said that he was right. At this moment, Daisy said that it was too late, and then she suggested we go and have a snack. Rosetta agreed and said that it sounded good. Aiden said that then he would take her to a place that he had checked in advance. As they were leaving, Rosetta turned around and saw someone. This someone was the boy who sold her the bracelets. Meanwhile, somewhere in the forest, the unknown man told Xian that it would be more efficient to investigate separately from here. He said he hoped Zion could take charge of the southeast. Zion said that he understood him. He said that if there was a problem during the fart, they should contact him immediately. Afterwards, an unknown man called a detachment and said that they were moving forward. Andre also told his squad that they also needed to leave. Meanwhile, the main character, Rosetta, approached the boy and told him. She asked what he was doing here and who he was with. At that moment, concerned Daisy and Aiden ran up to Rosetta. Daisy said she wondered where she went. Afterwards, she asked if the girl knew this child. The main character apologized and said that she saw someone who sold her this bracelet. Rosetta said that it looked like there were some financial difficulties. Rosetta leaned over to the boy and asked his name. The guy's name is John. Raza said it was a good name. She asked if he would not be a suitable decoration today. John said that everything was lost because they were stolen. He said that his mother was hit by a carriage and he planned to spend the money on treatment, but his brother took everything, even the gold. John said that his brother had some debts. Rosetta thought it was related to gambling. At that moment, Aide leaned over to the girl and said in her ear that perhaps it would be better not to get involved in other people's affairs. The main character thought that she approached the boy because she was glad to see him, but now she feels uneasy. But she thought that nevertheless food should not be a problem. But at that moment, a book appeared. They explained to Rose that the boy's mother was in critical condition. Rosetta was asked to protect this child's precious family. After all, if she refuses to help, the child's mother will die, and John will be beaten to death by his cruel older brother. The main character did not understand whether the accident that she saw in the preview was related to this situation. She understood that it was risky to receive punishment for something that was not related to the death of Zion. The main character understood that she had to reduce the punishment as much as possible. After all, if he refuses, there will be a high probability that this will negatively affect Zion. At that moment, the heroine pulled a handkerchief to the boy and asked where his house was. This told Rosetta that she was very kind. He said that if his lordship finds out. But she interrupted him and said that a secret might go there. She said that she would just see this woman for a while and would return. Afterwards, Rosetta invited John to go. John took the main character by the hand and agreed. After some time, they arrived at his house. When they entered, John told his mother to wake up. He said that Lita, who last time gave him gold coins here. Rosetta understood that she expected this, but not in such a seedy place as this. John's mom told Rosetta that she was very sorry. She said that the child did not know and brought such an important guest. At this point, John's mother began coughing up blood. Rosetta told Daisy to call the doctor. At this point, Rosetta was told to use the age ice to heal the child's mother right then and there. After all, if she refuses, the woman will not die immediately. The main character realized that they would not have time to call a doctor. At that moment, the countdown began. Rosatane understood what she should do. She understood that if she decided to save Zion, receiving a fine could put him in danger. At this moment, the main character used Aegis. When the boy's mother opened her eyes, Rosetta asked if she felt any better. But at this moment, I asked the main character whether it would be better to call a doctor in order for me to use force. But Rosetta said that then, it might have been too late. At this moment, John thanked the main character for her help. Afterwards, Ide told the main character that it was time for them to return. Before leaving, the guy told the family that if they were grateful, they should not tell anyone about what happened today. The boy's mother bowed and said that no one would know about this. Rosetta understood that thanks to the fact that she had previously used Asta to restore herself, now she was just not a little tired. The main character understood that it seemed like John really liked it when things went well. She hoped nothing bad would happen. Meanwhile, in the forest, the leader of the squad fell somewhere. Then a soldier came running to him downstairs and asked if he was okay. The man said he was fine. He simply appeared inappropriately in front of his subordinates for no reason. He said not to worry about it and would continue searching. The soldier announced to the detachment that the gentleman was unharmed and ordered them to line up and wait. Andre killed monsters. At that moment, a guy approached him from behind and said that there were fewer monsters than expected, so he thought the appeal would end faster. But Zion said that the dragon loves, and everyone needs to be warned not to let their guard down until it comes. Then he asked how many cleansing stones were left. The guy told him that they still had a lot of them. At this moment, he asked whether purifying the thoughts of the dragon's word was the responsibility of the royal court. He said that he doesn't like that they are being forced to go back to the north. I'm kicking them out. The guy told Zion that he also defended the capital, but being late, they don't try to take all the credit for themselves. At this point, Zion told Chris to calm down. Chris apologized for being upset, but he asked why Zion obeyed so easily because it was so unlike him. But Zion asked Chris if he really thought that he just lost. Chris was surprised and asked if this was not true. But Zion said that instead he found the most important thing. Chris was surprised and asked what it was. But Cyan ignored the question and told the guy not to give up even if the royal court did so. Chris could not believe that His Grace was reacting so pessimistically to the Imperial family. He did not understand what Cyan meant when he said that he had acquired the most important thing. For some time Cyan returned to the Rose. The main characters did not joyfully start running towards him. She told him about his return and asked if he had. Cyan said that as she sees everything is fine. He half thanked her for her concern and asked if she had had dinner. Rosetta smiled and said that no, she was waiting for him. At the table, Rosetta told Cyan that there were a lot of strange animals in the zoo. She said that the smell from the camel was really strong. She said she bet he would be surprised too if I smelled that smell. He said that he was sorry that he could not go with her. But Rosetta said everything was fine. She understood that Cyan had to go through a lot, being subjugated by the demon, and she proudly talks about how much fun she had walking without him. She thought she was really frivolous. At this moment, the main character apologized to the guy for going without him. But Cyan said that's not what he meant. He said that since they were here, why not enjoy the sights? He said that's what he meant. Andre said that he meant that he also wanted to go sightseeing with her. The main character was embarrassed and understood what the guy meant. Afterwards, she suggested that the guy should go somewhere together next time. But Cyan simply smiled and said that they should go together. He said he thought the time for conversion would end soon. Rosetta asked soon when. Cyan said that the installation of the cleansing stones is almost complete, and as soon as they deal with the remaining demonic creatures, the gate will be opened again. He said that this area is relatively calm in terms of the appearance of monsters. He said that they didn't seem to feel much of the impact of the words of the law on them. The main character said that she was glad that it wouldn't take much time, and the guy said that soon they would be able to hit the road again. At this moment, Cyan asked Prose, when the enslavement ends, would she like to go somewhere with him? He said that wherever she wanted to go, she should just say so. Once she smiled and agreed. Andre asked the Rose if anything else happened today, but the main thing was that the heroine said no. She said that after the zoo, they didn't go straight to the hotel. Cyan asked what about Aiden. He asked if there was something that made her feel uncomfortable, but Rosetta said that this is not so at all. She said that he seemed like a really good person. Rosatane understood what was happening. With Cyan's question, he wouldn't have missed work today. The main character told me that Aiden speaks with confidence and seems to make people feel very comfortable. She said that it was true, and that Xian didn't need to worry too much about her. Andre asked if this was true. He said that he thought about her and became very close. Meanwhile, Aiden did not understand why it had become so cold. At that moment, the guy smiled and said that he understood. He said that he was glad that the girl was doing well. Rosetta didn't understand what was happening, but she smiled and said that Aiden was a decent person. A little bit later, the main character thought that it looks like she overdid it yesterday because the fatigue does not go away. But at that moment, she was greeted. It was Violet Vivosa. She said that Aiden joined the enslavement squad, so from today on, she was given the responsibility to protect her. Rosetta was surprised that he had joined the suppression forces now. After all, she clearly remembers how yesterday Xian said that it was almost finished. She didn't understand if it was because of yesterday's incident. Well, still, the main character was upset because they changed them and the guard didn't say a word. At that moment, Violet asked the Rose if she didn't like her. But she said no. She explained that she was just a little sad that the guy left without saying goodbye. Violet said that it was decided very suddenly this morning, and he probably didn't have time to come. She said that she would definitely visit him later and greet him properly. Meanwhile, at John's house, the older brother shouted at Mom and John. He asked his mother what she was talking about. His mother said that she used the money that she kept secret from the priest, but the guy asked if she really thought he was an idiot. He said that she quickly told him the whole truth. Well, at that moment, an unknown guy appeared and asked what the hell. John's older brother greeted the guy and asked what he was doing here. Unknown and said that he did not receive the promised money, but John's brother said it was because he had no money. Afterwards, he began to ask for forgiveness. But the unknown guy said that it was none of his business, that he had no money. He said that John's brother borrowed money from him. He said that it doesn't matter how, but he is obliged to return them. Well, at that moment, the unknown guy drew attention to John's mother. He asked if she was limping. He asked why she looked healthy. The unknown guy said that then John's brother could use his mother and brother as collateral. Afterwards, the unknown guy ordered his subordinate to take John away. The mother begged to let the boy go because he was still a child, but the unknown guy didn't care. Before leaving, he told John's older brother not to show himself until he collected the amount. The enslavement of monsters is over, but despite this, the atmosphere in the area is still tense. The Hakuna ruler decided to hold a banquet to express his gratitude for subduing the monster. The main characters were worried because she couldn't see Aiden even though the enslavement was over. They say he was sent on a secret mission. Rosetta hoped that he was not avoiding her. The main character saw Aiden. Ada was very tired but greeted the Rose. The main character came up to him and said that he looked terrible. She said that it was similar. The secret mission was quite difficult. I didn't understand what kind of secret mission it was. The guy could not understand what his lordship was up to, and decided that it was better for him to keep his mouth shut. At this point, Aiden quietly told Rosetta that there was no secret mission. Rosetta was surprised and then asked why he never saw her. Aiden said that after His Excellency suddenly included him in the enslavement squad, his work became so difficult that he did not have time to do it on the spot. So I asked, "Isn't the generation already over?" Aiden said that only a few knights remained in the forest just in case. The main character was happy because she realized that the guy was not offended by her, but in any case, she thought that this was not a mission that Zion should have hidden. Rosetta told the guy that she thought he was angry with her, which is why he never came to see her. But Aiden said that this was impossible. He said it was most likely the other way around. He thought she was angry with him. He said that it was because since that day she changed her guard. The main character looked at the guy in surprise and he asked if it was her. But at that moment Aiden laughed and said that he must have understood everything wrong. He realized that most likely it was Zion who changed the guard. Aiden didn't understand if he had done something that made his lordship not hate him. Rosetta made excuses and asked Aiden, and now he will be her escort again. But the guy said that he did not know how this decision required his lordship's permission. At that moment Zion appeared. The ruler of the Hakuna came with him. The Hakuna ruler asked Rose if she was the only one who had survived the rumors. Rosetta didn't understand how he knew this. She asked how he knew. The man said that he received an official letter from the Imperial family. He said that he was able to recognize her thanks to her amazing beauty. Andre told the city ruler that now the main character is hiding her identity, and asked him to be careful. The Hakuna ruler apologized and said that there was a club because it was the first time he had seen someone from Isol. He said that then he would see them tomorrow, and hoped to hear an answer to his request. But Zion said that nothing has changed, and the man replied that it was regrettable. He asked him to excuse him and come to the banquet. The main character asked Zion what the request was. The guy explained that he refused because the ruler asked to stay in the Hakuna longer. At this moment, Aiden noticed Zion's bracelet. The question is, where did he see it? Aiden told Zion that overprotectiveness is not good. He said that if she found out later, she would definitely think that he did not trust her. Aiden started laughing and said that tomorrow he will accompany her as Violet's replacement. He started to leave and said that then he would go and get himself in order. Afterwards, Zion told the main character that he trusted her. Rosetta smiled and said that she also trusted him. Celebration at Lord Hakun's villa. Banquet day. The main character thought that this was surprising because even commoners were invited to the banquet. Despite this, the seating arrangement was organized quite clearly. At that moment, he told Rosetta that it looked like Zion would also be coming soon. Rosetta thanked him for telling her this and wished him a good day. The guy just smiled and said that he was doing his job. Still, don't overwork yourself. That's when I asked the threat if she was feeling well after that incident. The main thing is that everything is fine with her. But the guy said that still, she shouldn't use her power so thoughtlessly. He said that he heard that the power of Isol is limited. Rosetta thanked him for his concern and said she appreciated it, but she thought that this damn book continues to test this limit. The main character did not understand why the book continued to haunt her from the very morning. I understood that even though only she could see her, it was quite strange. Every time no one but her can see this book, she always feels like she doesn't belong here. Loneliness still creeps in, but she understood that she could not remain sad forever. The main character tried to hit the book and said that the bug was really annoying here. At that moment, a guy appeared and said that he was the owner of this territory. Rosetta began to stand up and apologized for being rude. Then she introduced him to the guy. The guy was surprised and asked why she was doing this. He asked if she didn't isolate it. Rosetta understood that he must have seen the Imperial letter, but she understood that nevertheless it was too much to talk about it in such a place. At this point, the guy said that in addition, he heard that she cured a boorish woman. The main character did not understand whether John really told about this. The girl thought that she was not going to break her promises. The guy said that in any case, since such a noble person had arrived, he hoped that the food would be to her taste. He said that it seems that they do not have enough skill among thieves to satisfy the taste of Isol. Rosetta understood that the guy was finding fault with an idea that had not even been eaten yet. She understood that these lesser races were probably bragging about gaining a title and enjoying the feeling of superiority over the nobility. And she didn't know if he wasn't deliberately trying to provoke her to see if she would leave. The main character smiled and said that it seemed like there was some kind of misunderstanding. She said that with the care they put into preparing this dish, it could not be tasteless. He said he just wasn't finished yet. The guy nodded and suggested we stop there for now. He apologized but said that he was very busy, so he was now declining. He said he hoped they had a good time. After the guy walked, Eden said that she didn't have to tolerate stupidity from others. Well, she said that she was fine and was already used to it. But Aiden told her that she shouldn't take this attitude for granted. She said she shouldn't be treated like that. But she said that unfortunately it was true. She said that she was a person of lower status who was not even a citizen of the Empire. But he said that this is not so. He said that as long as she was under the Duke's protection, being deep would be like being rude to the Duke. He said that he too is at his service. If any hooligan appears again, let her call him. He told the girl that he would be her sword. Once I was delighted and thanked him for such words. Aiden also said that whatever it was, his lordship would take care of it on his behalf. At that moment, Rosetta heard some screaming. Someone asked why it took so long and where their food was. When the main character looked in the direction where the scream was coming from, she saw John there carrying food. The main character wanted to help him, but Aiden stopped her and told her to pretend that she didn't know him. He said that it would just give the young master no need for an excuse. The heroine wanted to object. Well, at that moment they announced that the Lord and Duke of Sparrow were walking. When they left, he began his speech. He sincerely thanked everyone who was present at the banquet. He said that today's punk is dedicated to the complete enslavement of the monsters that threatened the Hakun. At this point, the Lord asked if he could introduce someone before they officially began the banquet. At this moment, he pointed to Zion and said that he was the one who was investing the most in the expedition. The Lord said that if Zion had not been here, the Hakun would have suffered significant damage. He said they were truly grateful. At this point, the Lord asked if he should introduce another person to them. Then he pointed to the main character. Rosetta didn't understand why he was doing this. At that moment, the book told Rosetta that the Lord was infected with the thoughts of the dragon's word. At this moment, the Lord said that Isol, rumored to have control over the powers of the earth, is none other than the main character. People didn't understand if it was really her. People said that the Isol were exterminated. At that moment, a woman appeared with a child in her arms and began to beg for help and say that her child was dying. Everyone started asking the heroine for help and talking about their problems. But Aiden stood up to defend the rose and said that if anyone came closer, he would strike. The book told the main character that the people gathered here are already infected with the thoughts of the dragon. She said that the crowd would attack soon. The main character did not understand what to do. At that moment, Sion approached and suggested that Rosetta quickly leave here. He told her not to worry. Aiden asked Sion what the hell it was, but Zion told him to put his sword away and prepare to leave immediately. He indicated that it seemed that Lord Hakuna was taking all possible measures to detain them. Sion said that it seemed that not only the animals were infected with evil thoughts. Aiden asked his husband, would you be so that the people here were also subjected to the thoughts of the dragon? I said yes. He said that if it is a master-level knight, then there should be no problem, but for ordinary people it is different. At this moment, Zion told the people that if they did not want to get hurt, then they should move back. Aiden said that then they should not find the source of discontent. Rosetta told them to look at the Lord. She said that it seemed like he was the source of the discontent. Sion asked Aiden if he could clear the Lord's thoughts. Aiden said that it was possible, but it would be too dangerous to approach Lord Sion and said that the safety of the rose was the top priority, so it was better to leave this place first. They began to run away, and Sion told Aiden to stun anyone blocking the path without harming them. The book told Rosetta that if they leave this place, they will immediately fall under the power of an evil dragon, and future history may take an unexpected turn. The main character realized that then this would turn into big problems. She understood that if they left like this, the Lord would completely become the puppet of the evil dragon, spreading discontent throughout the entire territory, and the harmful influence could return to the Lord at any moment. The main character understood that they needed to deal with this now. Rosetta stopped Sion and asked him to wait. Zion asked what happened. Rosetta is similar. It will be difficult to escape the Hakuna safely. She asked if it would be better to clear the Lord, who is the source of discontent right now. Andre said that this would need to be done after she was safe. But the main character said that later it would be too late to do this. She said that she heard that the longer the dragon's thoughts are infected, the more difficult it will be to clear them. But she said that if the influence of indignation is already noticeable, perhaps the area has already been contaminated. If you do this a little later, cleansing may not be impossible. Although Zion did not want this, he agreed. He asked Aiden if he had a cleansing stone. There is but only one. Andre took it and said that he would take care of everything here, so let the main character go to a safe place for now. Well, at that moment the Lord came out and said that this was not necessary. He said that what he wants is for them to focus more on themselves than on him. He asked if they really thought that even the merciful Esau would agree with this. He threw John to the ground. Lord said that the mother of this child begged on her knees, but surprisingly, just a few days ago, despite the fact that she was seriously ill, her body recovered in just one day. Lore asked how this is possible. The Lord asked the rose. She wouldn't deny that it was she who performed this miracle. John said that he saw this woman for the first time, and his Chelsea Mafia priest making a pilgrimage. At that moment, his older brother asked what kind of nonsense he was talking about. He said that he received information from Isol. He asked the main character to tell the Lord that he was right, but he asked Jay to believe him that he had never seen the main character. Rosetta said that she had never seen this child. Lot said that then he must have lied so as not to return the money. John's older brother begins to say that this is not so, but the Lord asked how he dared Gotti to him. He ordered that his tongue be cut out immediately. Before the sword cut off the guy's tongue, time stopped. The book told the main character that it was time to make a choice. The main character realized that time had stopped. The book told Rosetta that a new event was happening to her, which became the main character of the enemy of the evil dragon. Then she offered to choose one of the proposed options. The book said that the story would turn out differently depending on the choice of the main character. And once a choice is made, it cannot be undone, so let her choose wisely. The first option is to refuse to use force and immediately leave the Hakun. The second is to obey the Lord's order and then quickly clear the Hakuna's territory. The third one is to pretend that you are fulfilling the lot's request and immediately try to clear the poem. Time limit 1 minute. The book told Rosetta to be free to choose what she liked. Rosetta decided to clarify the situation. Firstly, option 2 is excluded because she does not know what the Lord will ask her to do. If they use force to the end, as written in the first option, it will only make the situation worse for both of them. That since she became the main character, she would eventually have to fix it. So in the end, this is the only option left. The book told Rod that option number 3 had been chosen. She asked to cleanse the source of discontent with the help of a cleansing stone. And if there is no cleansing stone, she can cleanse the source of discontent using Asta. Then time resumed again. The guy's tongue was cut out. Zion covered the main character so that she wouldn't look at it. Rosetta told Zion that she was not feeling well, but the guy said it wouldn't work. She told her to hurry up and run away from here, but she said that she had a way out. She asked for a cleansing stone. Zion asked why, but the girl asked to believe her. She doesn't ask anything. He looked at the guy and said that it was useless. Then he ordered to get rid of it immediately. She asked him to wait. The Lord asked what she wanted to say. The main character, you admitted that it was she who cured the child's mother. The Lord said that everything was as he thought. But the main character told me that she had one question. She asked why he wanted them to stay here. The Lord said that this was to help stabilize the situation in Hakuna territory and ease the unrest among the people. At this moment, the main character asked in this case, shouldn't he rule with more sincerity in asking such a thing? At that moment, she said that she offered her deepest apologies. Rosetta understood that this was her only chance, and she could not make a mistake. She decided that it was now or never that I cleaned the Lord. This man came to his senses. He asked what the hell it was. Andre explained to him that he had just been infected with thoughts. He asked if he really didn't remember anything. Loda asked if he really said something. Didn't ask if he had done something terrible, but he asked what he should do. Zion said that first he needs to deal with older thoughts. Lore agreed and said that they could use their cleansing stone, and then he ordered everyone to come here. The main character was Radhavidi. She realized that it looked like option number 3 was the right decision. However, I didn't understand why the book didn't disappear. At this moment, John came up and apologized for everything. The main character said that everything is fine and it's not his fault. But at that moment, John tried to hit her with a piece of glass, but Zion managed to protect her. Rosetta was scared, but Zion told her not to worry because it was too early for this kind of thing to be a trifle for him. And then he threw the boy away. At this moment, the book said that the source of discontent becomes agitated and anger intensifies. And she said that we need to hurry up and clean it up. Ruza did not understand whether the source of thoughts had changed its owner. She understood that this was her mistake and I couldn't solve it so easily. I asked Aiden if they still had cleansing stones, but he said that the one he gave her earlier was the last one. At this point, Sion asked Aiden to bring him a sword, but Rosetta asked him to stop because the guy was not conscious right now. She didn't understand what to do. After all, she knew that if they killed John, then thoughts of discontent would spread even more strongly. In addition, what is happening may be connected to something else. Rosetta realized that in the end, apparently there is only one way out. She said that she would clear his mind with the help of Asta. She said that since Asta has the ability to take away the life force of an evil dragon, she should be able to absorb the evil. Andre was surprised and said that he could absolutely allow this. Rosetta said that the last time she used the power against the evil dragon, it affected her too. She said that things have improved since then. The main character asked Sion not to worry because it helps her too. Andre agreed and asked her to promise him one thing. He said that if she felt even a little worse, he would stop, because there is nothing more precious to him than her life. Radio of the common good Rosetta was the one who sacrificed herself quite enough. She understood that she was not like Zion to say such things. But she still promised. And I felt happy. After the rose, she took off the ring, and I used Astu.